Hey guys, so sorry I can't be there today. There's one last thing that we need to add into our notes in order for you guys to have a quick set of notes today and then a lot of work time. This is something I just want you to have your notes out when you're working on your homework. These are vocab words that do get pretty confusing, but I want to make sure that I cover them. So if you're working with a situation where you have one solution, you've got two lines, they cross each other one time, this is called a consistent system with independent equations. Okay, they are different, they have different slopes, they only touch each other at one time. So again, this would be your consistent system with independent equations. And those are going to be questions that MathXL asks you. Is this consistent? Or the other word would be over far to the right, the inconsistent system. So that's going to be your first set of questions. Consistent or inconsistent. Is there an answer? Would be consistent. So we can kind of make a note of that. Consistent means there's an answer versus inconsistent means there is no answer. The next set of questions that it's going to ask you is it's going to ask you whether they are dependent or independent. So in this first example, we also have the word independent. In the second example, we have the word dependent. Independent means there's one answer. So kind of like if you're an independent person, you like to do things all on your own. You don't like help. If you are a dependent person, like my children are totally dependent on me, they need my help to do things. They cannot do it on their own. Dependent answers have more than one. So consistent means there's an answer. Independent tells you there's one. Or consistent means, again, there is an answer. If it's consistent and dependent, like this second example, there is an answer, hence the consistent. There are many answers, that's the dependent part. So we're going to see the words dependent, this means many answers, versus independent, this means one answer. So there are going to be two parts. First part on MathXL is going to say, is this consistent or inconsistent? You need to tell it whether there's an answer or whether there's not an answer. Then it's going to ask you, is this dependent or independent? Meaning, are there many answers or is there only one answer? So just kind of looking at the third graph that we're looking at, these are parallel lines. This would be considered an inconsistent because there are no answers. There's never a time where these two graphs are going to touch each other. So that's the last part. And again, I really just want you to have your notes open when you're going through these questions because these can get to be confusing vocab words. So yesterday, some of you voiced to me that you're struggling with plugging in your answers into MathXL. So here's what one of your graphing questions looks like. So first and foremost, take your equations and whatever you need to do to get those into your y equals mx plus b form, so that way you can plug this part into your calculator, do it. So that first equation, we had 2x minus y equals 2. Sorry, Mia's right next to me sniffling. I'm going to subtract my 2x on both sides. That will leave me with negative y equals negative 2x plus 2. And I'm going to divide everything by that negative sign to get y equals positive 2x minus 2 now. This is what I can plug into my calculator. And I'm going to do the same thing for that 8x plus y equals 8. I'm going to subtract that 8x on both sides, and I get y equals negative 8x plus 8. And now that I have it in y equals format, I can plug that into my calculator to graph it. So now I have my two equations. If you want to do them one at a time in your calculator because it's hard for you to see the difference, go ahead. So then there's the graphing part. My suggestion to you is click this magnifying glass with the plus sign. That's going to make your graph a little bit bigger because I don't know about you, or maybe it's just my old eyes, but those little dots, those little grid lines, they're pretty darn close to each other, and that's really hard for me to move my mouse around to click the right spot. So I want you to click that enlarge screen. And it will enlarge it for you. If you're on the desktop, you can actually make it even bigger. But if you click that screen, you'll be able to get this menu. This menu is important. You need to pick the line tool. And once you pick the line tool, it's going to have you plot some points. So for my first graph, what ended up being y equals 2x minus 2. I'm going to plot my first dot here at negative 2, and then my next dot here at 1, 0. Once I plot 2 points, MathXL will automatically give you the line. Then my next graph, it came out to be y equals negative 8x plus 8. I'm going to plot my first dot at 8, and then my next dot happens to be exactly where I plotted my other one. And I can see where they cross. So I have it plotted. I'm going to click the Save button. And if they asked you where that solution was, that solution is right where these two lines cross each other. We can see it going on right there. I happen to pick those 2 points. My solution would be the coordinate 1, 0. But I would click Save, and then you can check your answer from there. But clicking that magnifying glass and enlarging it will definitely be able to get you to that line tool. And from there, I do know that it's kind of annoying to plot your points sometimes, but if you ever mess up, you can always click the clear button and then just start over. Okay? Have a great day, guys. Have a great weekend. Get some homework done.